We're on some straight up like VH1. Hey, remember 2025 kind of shit here, but apparently only about half of what I send over to Phil gets posted to YouTube. You can use the comment section to settle our long-running disagreement here. He says, well, you don't want me to excise any of your pauses or edit for time constraints or anything, and I say, so you can't use anything just because I make a joke about piggy corn or because I flash my piece for the camera? Well, hi, diddly, hey, neighborino, it's Jim, and we're doing a flashback. Mr. Peabody, Mr. Philbody, go ahead and fire up the Wayback Machine and set it up for a young Sherman. And we're going back to November 28 of 2025. What were you doing in 2025? Well, you know what Uncle Gene was doing? He was dropping 2 separate albums. Now, let me tell you a quick story about Uncle Gene here. This isn't the same Gene, but it could be. Yeah, it could be a story that Gene's nephew is telling about his Uncle Gene too. Anyway, our Uncle Gene, Big D's Uncle Gene, we were on our way into the grocery store picking up some tickets for a concert at the Ticketmaster. If memory serves, this was Corrosion of Conformity playing underneath Clutch back like 25 years ago at the Showbox in downtown Seattle, and on our way out of the Ticketmaster, we saw Uncle Gene at the grocery store, and we said, oh, so what are you up to? He said, oh, well, I've got to get back to work. I'm on a break right now. Got some important business to take care of. He was wearing his liquor store uniform at the time. The all liquor in Washington State was sold through those liquor stores. And as we were heading out from the grocery store, after gathering up some purchases, probably Jolt Cola, we saw Uncle Gene in the window of the nearby Burger Master set at a plate of hash browns. And if memory serves correct, as we walked by and looked in on him, he produced a jar of cheese salsa and proceeded to dump it right over that plate of hash browns. Might have been mayonnaise, actually. I don't even precisely remember the jar, but that's Uncle Gene, right? Well, another thing that Uncle Gene is up to is, as I said, dropping 2 simultaneous solid albums. We got a new Perdition Temple album and a full-length debut from Malefic Throne on the same day. And some people say whataboutism, but I say, well, you know what the basis of scholarship is comparison and contrast. So let's discuss these two. I'm playing a little bit of catch-up, but to judge from the subscriber counts as of yet, you're probably playing catch-up too. So, thank you for tuning in. Let's jump right in. I'm gonna start with the Perdition Temple, Malign Apotheosis. So, I feel like we all know the backstory, but maybe we don't all know the backstory. Maybe some of us don't run in the same circles. Backstory on Perdition Temple. Once upon a time, there was this band called Order from Chaos with watch me here, with Pete and with Chuck, and when that band broke up, Pete went on to form Angelcorpse with Gene, and Chuck went on to a band called Vulpicula and ended up in a band called Ares Kingdom with a guy named Alex Bloom at the bass. I happened to see, in fact, Angelcorpse and Ares Kingdom play together at a bar up in Seattle probably about 10 years ago, and that was a goddamn good set. Anyway, Pete was in Angelcorpse with Gene for a while, and then Gene went on to form Perdition Temple with Alex from Ares Kingdom, so it kind of closes the loop a little bit. It's like on the other side of history, the back end of Order from Chaos. I don't know, it's some kind of loop. I like the symmetry of it at any rate. And Perdition Temple. So this is, of the two projects, the one that sounds the more distinctly just like Angelcorpse. And I think a lot of us who were young and excited by Angelcorpse at the time are going to automatically carry in some expectations where you're just like, I know it's not going to be Angelcorpse, but I want it to be another Angelcorpse album. Well, it sounds like another Angelcorpse album. For those who listen to the music itself and hear the instruments and not so much the intent, it suffices in that regard. It sounds a lot like another Angelcorpse album, but the vocals, and you can use that comment box to correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that is Gene cutting the vocals here, and he's definitely one of the more competent vocalists, but he does not have Pete's, there's not a word for it, it's just that Pete has in that voice of his. I dare say Gene's voice is almost manlier, but Pete's is the more charismatic. And that's just where that's at with that. But Malign Apotheosis. So this one is against their most recent release previous to that, which was it started with an M. I remember that one. Do I gotta check my notes? Hang on a second, Phil. We're doing this shit in real time. It was M something. What was the last Perdition Temple album called? It was called, Perdition Temple... Merciless Upheaval. Okay, so, set against Merciless Upheaval, which was really, like, a proper, another Angelcorpse album. This one is scaled back in the production. It's just as merciless with the upheaval, but it's a bit more muffled sounding. It's more restrained. It has some of that same deeply compressed charm that Fine Art of Murder had, and I fucking dig it. It sounds a little less, on my first few listens, like a direct sequel to an Angelcorpse album than did Merciless Upheaval, but it's distinctly Perdition Temple. And if I was to do this one by the numbers, which I think I'm obliged to do, I would say that I give that one give it a 7 on the music and a 9 on the aesthetic. Cover is not exciting, but it works. It's a really good palette, and we'll come back to the impact on that one shortly, because let's jump over to, I almost said blasphemic cruelty here. Let's jump over to Malefic Throne, the other Gene release from November. Now that one is more deservedly linked to Angelcorpse. It's probably the more anticipated of the two. I can't speak for the community at large, so yeah. If you anticipated one more than the other, then you can drop that comment. But this one, because it is essentially, it's like an Angelcorpse mashup with Steve Tucker. It has that selling point. And interestingly enough, it is the one that sounds less like Angelcorpse. Maybe that's the Tucker influence, but for a band that is essentially 2/3 Angelcorpse, it is much less of a direct continuation than is the Perdition Temple, which I think says a lot for the influence that Pete had in Angelcorpse. The reviews on both of these, as posted online, generally refer back to Tampa death metal, and that's an interesting one because Angelcorpse technically ended up as a Tampa band, but they didn't start that way. I think that I probably said in the Angelcorpse video, you can watch that one and check to see if I'm correct on this, that Angelcorpse essentially is like a Gene brings the Morbid Angel and Pete brings the Bestial Warlust, and that is the magic of Angelcorpse. And by all means, Perdition Temple is definitely more bestial than Morbid Angel, but people say black into death metal. That one comes up a lot, the black into death metal style of Gene, and it's just death metal style, really. But the style is death metal. The delivery is black metal. There's an urgency and a hellfire to his Gene-ness that transcends a lot of your stereotypical mid-paced, here for the beers, death metal kind of energy. Now, what have I got to say about Malefic Throne? It's the more interesting in that regard, because it is the one that sounds less like Angelcorpse. The Perdition Temple has got that busy buzzing, blasting death metal theory with, the swarming solos and the periodic punctuating pinch harmonics, worthy of a tray, but Malefic Throne is the more interesting one, and I'm not really sure how I feel about Tucker on it. He does his job here. If I was to favor, just to pick one, independent of the music, the vocals from each, I like the vocals that Gene lays out on Perdition Temple more than I like the ones that Tucker brings to Malefic Throne, but in each case, they both fit. These are both solid records. I'll give this one another 7 for enjoyment, but pardon me there. Gotta get a cocktail trip in this shit. For aesthetic, I give this one maybe another 7. Maybe a 6 even. I'm not as down with the cover. It's got that Invictus tattoo energy that I associate so much to David Vincent, and that may or may not be ironic given that it is Steve Tucker here. But another one, just in case anyone is using this as death metal preschool, and I don't recommend that. I walk into these videos with the assumption that you know roughly something of the same amount that I know about death metal, but if you don't, here's a fun little piece of trivia, is that, what was that band? Is Nader Sadek, and it wasn't even the band, but that guy, Nader Sadek, from back in the day, he had the band that he put together with Flo and with Runa and Steve Tucker, and they cut an album or two. And then now there's this band Invictus, or what have you, where it's Flo and Runa and David Vincent. And here's Steve Tucker filling in for Morbid Angel. So they've almost got this weird kind of synergy where they just swap each other out, like Thomas Lindbergh and Peter Tadgren had going, where one would be in lockup 1 minute and then one's in at the gates the next minute. I didn't keep track of it exactly how it went, but there was a couple of uncanny loops with that pairing too. You can dig through their curricula vitae, respectively, and find out precisely what I was speaking about here. Anyway, so yeah, compare and contrast here. On the musical level, enjoyed both of these albums equally and distinctly, and I found it very interesting that the one that is got Longstreth on it is the less Angelcorpse of them, but two really solid albums from Gene. We had a sketch-ass year. We didn't really get a whole way through. We were trying to launch in January, and that would have been a much better position for me to do a top 10 or whatever of the albums of the year, but I definitely would give each one of these a strong chance of being in the top 10. And for the aesthetic, I did prefer the Perdition Temple to the Malefic Throne. I'm not really feeling that cover on that Malefic Throne, and the red and gold thing, I dug it a lot when Impiety brought it out for Ravage and Conquer, but there's too much David Vincent energy here for something that is Steve Tucker. And that's where I stand on those, and then let's round it off with an impact. I'm going to say each of these, I'm going to be bold to go 5, because I don't think these are earth-shattering things that deserve a higher rating, but they're definitely not zero-impact releases. I imagine a lot of people besides myself are eager to hear what Gene is up to, and especially if you've got a super group of sorts, like the case with Malefic Throne. I have said, and I will say again, Angelcorpse I think is the most criminally underrated band in death metal, besides possibly Cough filter. Besides possibly Sinister. But a lot of people do know that Gene is one of those guys. He's not at Santana level where when you hear just a few notes you know it's Gene playing, but he's, I would say, at that. And okay, so bear this in mind, I'm not a guitar player, so I don't follow a lot of the shred, but I would say that on a very important level that Gene matches up to a Kirk Hammett, because if you hear Kirk Hammett's playing and you know that it's Kirk doing that solo, then you hear Gene's riffs and you generally know that it's Gene. A lot more so with the Perdition Temple. Maybe he just let his freak flag fly on that one. But two really solid albums of Gene, and I'll let Phil tackle the numbers on that, and I'm going to drop it and dip from there. But that is our I keep almost throwing blasphemic cruelty into here. Fucker just gets around to so goddamn many bands. That is our cap off to the Angelcorpse video with Malefic Throne and Perdition Temple. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs down button, and we'll turn those upside down frowns correctly back around. Alright. Jim Dempsey, my man Philip on the graphics, dropping and dipping.